We live in a truly fantastic age. The tools we have access to, the platforms, the people. Today we're talking about Open Broadcast Software, or OBS. It's a free software for offline video recording and live streaming. When I first started making videos, I was using a webcam and a USB microphone, and I was using OBS to record my videos. And I was able to accomplish quite a lot with it. The great news is that OBS works on Mac and Windows. Maybe you do tutorials. Maybe like me, you were doing talking head videos and you have a webcam, and OBS is a flexible tool with a lot of plugins that you could use for audio sources, desktop recording. It truly is fantastic, and it truly is free, which makes it even more amazing. Before we dive into OBS, I want to share a couple of things with you. And it's this idea, first of all, that we live in an amazing age and we have access to platforms and creating and getting our work out, our skills out. Whether you are an artist, whether you are a web programmer, whether you are a plumber, you have access to different platforms that are free to you. Ask yourself, is it fear keeping you back from creating? Because if you aren't creating as much as you should, chances are your time could really be swamped, or you have a little bit of fear in terms of putting yourself out there. And I'm beginning to realize more and more. I feel like even with the addition of this podcast to the work that I am doing, the pieces are falling in place. And it is only through you doing the work that you could see the pieces falling into place looking back. If I want results from the gym, I need to join the gym, and I will see the results a couple of weeks down the road, hopefully in a couple of days. Recently, I hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Around the same time, I reached 10,000 followers on Facebook, so I will count that as my creator win. And after years of contemplation, I launched a web design bootcamp. And within 24 hours, 10 people registered. So that is a big win. That is something that fear was keeping me back from doing. And all the pieces were already there. I had the platform in terms of YouTube, Facebook, the content creation that I was doing there on TikTok as well. And you could find more details on my website, which is www.potbake.com. And there are two people that I want to recognize. One of them is Ishmael Beg, who has been on this podcast talking about pricing for content creators. He has been encouraging me in the background, and I finally, with his help, decided to go for it. And there's someone who I haven't spoken to as yet, but I listen to his podcast all the time, and his name is Vince Warnock. He's the host of the podcast Chasing the Insights. And I reached out to him on Instagram. I sent him a private message and I said, Vince, if it's possible, I would love to speak to you on my podcast. And he said, send me the booking link. And I wasn't too sure if the booking link was some other sort of software that he was using or familiar with, or if it was the link that you usually get when you have a Zoom meeting. So I sent a message admitting that I wasn't too sure what he was speaking about. And he said that you could use a tool like Calendly. And when I checked out Calendly, I realized that it solved a lot of the problems in terms of, reaching out to podcast guests, and also in terms of structuring things like these boot camps, these one-day sessions. I had no sense of a tool that could help me easily manage it. So Vince and I haven't even formally spoken in person, but he sent me that tool, that sharing of that knowledge opened up not just an avenue to speak with him, but even goals that I have. So I encourage you to, sometimes you know about particular tools, you share it with a fellow content creator, and it could open doors for them and for you, and the exchange of information. So I'll put links to Ishmael Beg's page and Vince Warnock down in the show notes as well. Let's talk about Open Broadcaster Software, or OBS. This tool, which you could download for free, gives you a canvas, and you could mix a variety of audio and video sources to this screen or this scene. So for instance, if you have a talking head video and you just want to have your face showing up, you could choose your video capture source, which is your webcam in this case, and it shows your face. You could have multiple scenes that you're switching between for your offline recording, or this is a tool that you could live stream as well to services like Facebook, YouTube, Twitch if you're a gamer, or maybe like me, you're a programmer and you want to do tutorials, and you may have a scene where you want to focus on Notepad, the tool where you're typing up your source code. So you could create a scene that chooses to share the display capture, and you could configure it even further. You could be sharing Notepad. You could add another source, which is your webcam, and that shows up to the top right-hand corner or wherever you choose to place it. So you could switch between these scenes. So say, for example, I'm doing a recording or a live stream, and I want to emphasize the source code that I'm typing, the results I'm getting in the browser. You could select that scene in real time, and it switches between Notepad alone or a second scene that includes Notepad and the webcam. You could even have a third scene, which is Notepad, the webcam, and the browser, which shows the results. So if you do particular recordings where you want to have this sort of desktop or display capture, you could do all this inside of OBS. You could have multiple scenes. You could add your USB microphone. You could add whatever your audio source is. So for example, right now I'm using the Rodecaster Pro 2, which has the connection that I could connect it to my laptop, and I could use it as the audio source if I was recording with the webcam. So I could quite easily do a video podcast using OBS if I wanted and just upload that file to YouTube afterwards. So it's a fantastic piece of software. I encourage you to check it out in the show notes. And the great news is that it also has a lot of plugins that you could download for it. You could do transitions in real time. You could set hotkeys, shortcut keys for your recording process. And the audio, when I was doing this, I had some political satire. I was recording a show called Red Wall News. It's available on my YouTube channel. And I was using this USB microphone, but the room that I was recording in was a little bit noisy. And I downloaded these plugins for OBS called Reaper, Reaper. I'll include the links in the show notes. And using these plugins, it gave me things like noise reduction, compressor settings, equalizer settings to sweeten the voice. So it is a fantastic piece of software if you're into live streaming and you want to level up your game, if you're into doing offline recordings where you want to record the video at different quality levels and then overlay it in your video editor of choice. It is a fantastic tool. Check it out, download it, upgrade your arsenal. And so thank you very much for listening to this very short episode. And I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of it. Special thanks to the folks who signed up for the web design bootcamp, youtube.com/Lyndon Baptiste. Or you know what, just go to my website, potbake.com, and you'll get links to the programming bootcamps and courses that I'm offering. I really appreciate all the love and support that's pouring in. I'm very excited about finally starting this course. And I look forward to continue engaging you all on this podcast. See you in the next episode.